I changed my life in 6 months, and this is how I did it. 6 months ago, I set out on a no plan B journey to make the uncomfortable comfortable, do things that matter to me, and fearlessly pursue plan A. I dedicated 6 months to becoming the best version of me and to achieving my goals, overcome self-doubt, break habits of mediocrity, make 6 friends, and launch my business. Did I achieve them? Well, we'll get into that later. Little did I know that I enter a new era of my life that would change me forever. I feel like I'm growing, but not in the way that I want to be, or not towards the place I want to be. I'm not pushing my potential. And to me, that feels really strange, and I don't like it. To put it quite simply. Let me show you the momentous growth and changes that occurred over the last 6 months in forms of 6 lessons. Let's do it. Don't let fear keep you in the same place. Push past the scary feelings and keep your head where your feet are. That is what I kept telling myself throughout the journey. Just push past the fears, Lizzie, and keep on going. You got to keep on going. Fear is only trying to keep us in the same place, and I was ridden with fear. The fear of failure, the fear of not doing enough, the fear of rejection, and the fear of never becoming the person I want to be. I was afraid of disappointing myself. I had all these goals, but what if I couldn't achieve them? What if I failed at making my dreams come true? I would just prove to everyone who's doubted me that they were right. Those what ifs had me in a chokehold, and I could never seem to escape the little voice inside my head telling me that I was not good enough. That little voice was a fuel to my self-doubt, and it kept the fire burning for way too long. Self-doubt is an excuse for us to not take action. It is the driving force of mediocrity. I can't, so I won't. I couldn't, so I shouldn't. Blah, blah, blah. All I hear are excuses. Imagine letting that little voice dictate how you move through the world, allowing it to stop you from showing up as your true best self. Yeah, I was not going to let that happen, which is why I embarked on a no plan B journey to smother that little voice once and for all. She was getting really annoying. I did things that scared the living bejesus out of me, and it was not fun to face my fears. I launched my business, The Power of Club, within a month. I overcame my perfectionism by being purposely imperfect. I forced myself to speak up in meetings and to meet new people, despite being a little shy and introverted at times. And I acted on everything I set my mind to, no matter how fearful I felt. I refused to let fear keep me in the same place, so I used fear as fuel to push me ahead. I still have fears, but my fears are no longer in forms of self-doubt. They are now in forms of chances, the chance to grow, to change, and to strengthen. It is okay to have fears. The goal is not to be fearless. It is to fear less. Fear is a great growth motivator. It keeps us alert, alive, and attuned with who we are and who we can be. My goal was to overcome self-doubt, and I did it. That little voice is gone, and it is replaced with a booming voice that tells me that I can do it, and that I am doing it. Fear is not an excuse to not take action. It is an excuse to take a chance on you. How do you expect your life to change if you don't change? Level up your values and actions first. Everything else will follow. Ali Abdaal once talked about thinking of ourselves as systems or machines. He said, to make a computer work twice as fast, you change its code and system. You don't tell it to try harder. Yet we too often think we need to try harder when our actions do not result in the outcomes we want. We slam our fist on the try harder button and yell, let's run it again, failing to see that we are not the problem, our systems are. Once I understood this, the quality of my life did a 180. I approached every avenue of my life in terms of systems, and I unlocked the key to solving any problem. I like to ask myself, if this isn't working for me, how can I make it work for me? What can I do to make it easier to do that thing? I'll give you an example. I was having a really hard time waking up early in the morning. I was waking up, but it was hard to wake up. I was snoozing alarms until I couldn't anymore. I had to put my phone across the room, and I had to leave sticky notes all around my room and on my phone, reminding me to not go back to bed post-alarm. Did they work? Sure, sometimes. But it was hard and unenjoyable. I continued pressing the try harder button, expecting things to change. They didn't, of course, because how do you expect life to change if you don't change? I kept at this insane behavior until I came across a Cajun Koi Academy video where they talked about, instead of setting a wake-up time, set a bedtime. And you guys, my life changed overnight, literally. Since then, I've never had a hard time waking up whenever I sleep at my bedtime. You've probably heard people say, we are the product of our environment. Well, we are also the product of our systems. When our systems are efficient and effective, we are also efficient and effective. And when our systems don't work, it doesn't mean that we're not trying hard enough. It just means that the system is not aligned with the expected outcomes and we need to change it. So one of the biggest skills I honed within the journey is knowing when and how to change my systems. I don't press the try harder button. I pinpoint the problem, research the problem, and change the code. I may need to change the code a few times before landing on the one that works, but as long as I'm trying to change the system and to solve the problem, I always figure it out. Be so good, they can't ignore you. I held this advice high above as my shining North Star and followed it closely throughout the journey. What does it mean to be so good? How does one become so good? The definition of good is subjective, based on personal goals and perspectives, so define good however you want. But I do know how to become good. At least I think I do. To become so good, you must welcome discomfort and be extraordinary. Discomfort is the gateway to success, and nothing great comes from doing something easy and ordinary. One must do extra to be extraordinary. This makes sense. If you want to be so good they can't ignore you, you must have a reason for them to not ignore you. Who's a planner? I know I am. I love planning my steps on how to get from point A to point B. Being a planner is beneficial in many cases, but not when you want to be so good they can't ignore you. In an attempt to be so good, planning is just another productive procrastination tactic to not take action. Oh, I must know what to do before I do it. No you don't. Take action first, then figure out what to do down the line. Being extraordinary requires extra hours, extra effort, and extra dedication. Not extra planning, extra waiting, and extra pondering. No one knows what they're really doing. Step over that mind bump and start climbing now. That's the only way to become so good. Tolerant with others, strict with self. One thing I like about myself is my assiduous attitude. I'm hard on myself, but I'm understanding of others. I build a moat on my emotions, but I'm compassionate with how others express theirs. I trench through discomfort, but I try to never make others feel uncomfortable. I believe being assiduous strengthens mental game and builds self-reliance, and it generates compassion and confidence. People deserve the best version of me. I deserve to be the best version of me. I don't go easy on myself. I don't make excuses. When a problem happens, I solve it. For example, when I'm getting a little fluffy, I work out. When I am mentally blocked, I meditate and do self-therapy. When I feel spiritually disconnected from my soul and surroundings, I let go of the expected and live in the present. What I do is for myself, but the best version of me is to share. It is important to be strict on how I show up every day, because my ultimate goal is to make every moment count. And with my assiduous attitude, I definitely make the most out of this no plan B journey. How can I benefit this moment? Ryan Trahan said this once, and it completely changed my outlook on how I want to show up. Instead of seeking for emotions and feelings I want to experience, whether that is happiness, peace, or joy, how can I create those emotions and feelings for others to experience? How can I be the light and bring more bliss to life? Well, first things first, I must be responsible for my emotions. I learned to be non-reactive and to think before I feel. Is this emotion serving me? If not, then it's probably not serving anyone else. Secondly, I learned to live presently. The present moment is always the better moment. I realized that I didn't need to chase this better version of me. I'm already her. I am who I want to be. And when I finally understood this, I became a better, calmer, and warmer person. I became the happiness, peace, and joy that I used to seek for. And I want to continue finding more meaningful ways to benefit the moment. Bliss is so contagious, and I want to spread it by thinking positively, seeing life's beauty, and saying kind things. When you want something, you are given the opportunity to achieve what you want. If you want courage, you will be presented with your worst fear. If you want love, you will question your worth and be heartbroken. If you want success, you will be placed under pressure and tempted by pleasure. If you want peace, you will be interrupted and your patience will be tested. I wanted to overcome self-doubt, so I was given many rejections and challenged by many situations that heightened my doubts about myself. But these rejections were opportunities, and opportunities are only given to those who are ready. And the more we want something, the more we have to give in order to receive. The No Plan B journey taught me how to overcome self-doubt. It taught me how to think in terms of system to solve mind blocks. I learned how to convert challenges into opportunities. For example, perfectionism was stopping me from launching the Power Of Club, so I gave myself 1 month to build the business and to execute it. I wanted to break habits of mediocrity, So I fixed my problems by reading books, listening to podcasts, and trying again and again after each failure. I want to grow my circle, so I made it a goal to make 6 new friends and got my introverted booty out there. I was crippled with self-doubt, so I embarked on a 6-month journey to do everything in my power to overcome it. These were challenges turned into goals that were converted into opportunities to help me achieve my wants. When we want something, when we want to be so good they can't ignore us, when we want to change and benefit the moment, we have to do the internal work and show up every single day. Throughout the journey, I was always very excited and eager to learn and listen every single day. I moved through life as the person I presently am, and I was very zealous to make every day count, and I was definitely very ambitiously action-driven. I found bliss by detaching from outcomes, and I learned to be enterprising because life always has other plans. I also found trust within myself. I trust that I can grow under any condition. And finally, I learned, and I'm still learning, how can I benefit the moment? The No Plan B journey kickstarted a new self-evolution journey. I fell in love with myself all over again, and I discovered that I'm pretty good at facing my fears. There's no doubt in that. I've been doing that for the past 6 months. So you may be wondering, what's next, Lizzie? Another journey? Well, maybe. I'll see what happens. I may have something in mind, but until then, I'll continue to carry everything I've learned throughout this journey and to show up every single day. Thank you for sticking by my side throughout this whole entire journey. It was really cool to have you guys there and for some of you to do it with me. And thank you, Annie Long, for being the inspiration behind this whole thing. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye.